Well, hello friends, Jason F's New Age Revolution. It's the cave, and it'll be a abbreviated video tonight, an impromptu one that I didn't plan because I'm sick. I have a cold. Yeah, I have a cold. It feels miserable, and I want to go to sleep, but I can't because I have children, and they don't care if you're sick and they don't go to sleep. But first, I wanted to come on here and talk about what it was like when we were sick when we were kids. Hey, do you remember being sick in the 80s? You know how it goes. You know how it was. You had two different kinds of sick. Either you were sick or you weren't. But regardless, you were going to stay home from school one way or the other. I remember being for real sick many times as a kid. Not many times. I wasn't a sickly child. That's not what I'm trying to say. But I certainly remember the stay home from school sick days and what they were like as a little kid and what they were like as an older kid. I have two different memories of those. But first, my friend Ian from the channel 80's Country Kid on the YouTubes. He's in the comment section as 80's Country Kid. He sent beautiful little gift. Small packages go long ways. Not that I've ever had to hear that. Yes, I have. He sent me, he says, I won't read the whole letter. I don't know if he wants that out there, but he says, a big fan of Saturday morning cartoons, how kids don't understand how special that day of the week was. We have a common fondness in Muppet Babies. And he says, during your videos, my eye is always drawn to the stuff from my childhood, and I saw you had a McDonald's Muppet Babies on display in your revamped garage. I thought maybe this might be an area I could contribute to in a small way, as I have a couple spare figures. You see, in Canada, another Canadian. I thought there was only one. You see, in Canada, we received something a little different. In the first 1986 release of the set, international markets received a different version of Gonzo. You will notice he has a more narrow face, longer feathers on his head, and no shoes. That is quite different from the Gonzo that was released here, which is awesome. He did have a tricycle. I have a tricycle, but this is the Gonzo that went with that Canada gave us. Canada was around in 86. That's interesting. I didn't know that. Apparently Canada was a thing in 86. They had a McDonald's. Weird. They had television. Weird. They had the Muppet Babies. And they had a Canadian exclusive Gonzo, which is awesomely added to my collection. I can't wait to move him up to the garage and set him there with the rest of his pals. Then, in the 1987 set, they released an exclusive baby animal that was not released here in the US. So we have Animal now as part of the set. And his vehicle is a recycled Berenstain Bears wagon. So recycled that Animal does not fit perfectly in it without having to squeeze him in. I love that. I love that they reused the Berenstain Bears wagon. Brother Bears wagon. Awesome. So we have a Canadian exclusive figure and a what is it called? What are those things that they call them when they're different? What's it called? Not a replica. Forget it. Who cares? But we have a different styled Canadian figure. There you go, of Gonzo. So we got Gonzo and Animal for my friend Ian, and I could not thank you enough. Thank you so much. They're going to go right up in the garage right after this video. Maybe I'll even show you where I put them. That's awesome. So thank you. Appreciate you very much. 80's Country Kid. Variant. That's the word I was looking for. Variant. This is the Canadian variant of Gonzo. There we go. All right. Staying home sick. Staying home sick as I wanted to do today. I was sick today because I did have one cancellation today. And I actually laid down in my office at about 1. And I fell asleep so fast that my next person comes in at 2, and my alarm went off at like 1:57, and I was just like, whoa, where am I? I went to sleep that fast. Homesick as a kid. I was not really that sick as a kid that often. My son Liam, Finley's a bull. He doesn't get sick. Liam gets sick all the time. And whenever Liam gets sick, he gets a fever and he throws up. Guaranteed. And he's got night terrors when he's sick, and it's just awful. I don't remember being that sick. I remember having some pretty severe sore throats as a kid. And those sore throats and vomiting were the absolute drizzles as a kid. To this day, I cannot stand a sore throat, and I cannot stand throwing up. I would rather die than throw up. Throwing up is the all-time worst physical thing to do when you're sick. But I think what kept me home the most as a kid was probably the sore throats. You are in school with kids every day, you catch bugs and you get sick. I did throw up a lot as a kid also. I definitely did. And the thing with me on throwing up, and I was notorious for this, and I feel bad to this day because I would literally sell my children if they did this, but I didn't even try as a kid to get to a garbage or a bathroom. I didn't even try. I would literally roll over and puke on the floor. That's how much of an idiot I was. And then I would get, Mom! And then she'd have to come in and deal with that. And that's the all-time worst. That is an unimaginable thing to have to deal with. That's probably why she doesn't talk to me today, as I used to just throw up wherever I was. Miserable, horrible feeling. I hated throwing up so much. You throw up as a kid. You think it's over. You go back to bed. You're laying there. You're fevery, so you're cold and you're hot. You think you got some relief. You're about to go to sleep, and then boom, it hits you again. And you are always good for 2 or 3 or 4 throw-ups per sickness. And so once you throw up for the first time, you might as well just, settle in and get ready for a few more. And that's a dreadful feeling. Dreadful feeling. The sore throats are awful because they just burned. They just burned, and they were horrible. And you can't sleep with a sore throat, and you are dry in the middle of the night and stuffy, and it was terrible. So the sickness part of being sick as a kid sucked, obviously. But the perks of being sick as a kid were great. I remember the couch. The couch was your sick spot. I was never sick in bed. I was never left alone in bed to be sick. Neither are my children. I think just the couch is where you want to be sick. So you finally convince your mom to let you stay home, and it's about 9 o'clock in the morning, and she makes up the couch for you. She gets a sheet and she puts it on the couch and she tucks it in, and you got your pillows and you got your blanket, and it's absolute heaven. It is the most fantastic feeling in the world to get on a couch with fresh sheets because you've been sick, or because you are sick. And that's when the special attention would begin. That's when the juices would begin, the orange juice or the ginger ale, right? The ginger ale, because that's what you're supposed to drink when you're sick. Whatever is ginger ale. My mom would stir out the bubbles because she said that it would help me feel better if she stirred out the bubbles. And that's awful because that's flat. So I didn't like that. But my mom would make a special trip to the gas station for ginger ale. When you were sick, you had to have ginger ale. And I really don't think that does anything for you. I really don't. I don't think it has enough of anything in it to settle a stomach. Certainly, I don't know, whatever. It just worked mentally, right? You just, and it spreads through the ages, because when my kids are sick, the first thing they ask for is ginger ale. You were certainly going to get popsicles of some kind, and you were going to get it brought to you. That was the best part. It was going to be right there on your coffee table while you, if you were not throwing up, while you were staring at the television, folks, while you were staring at Nickelodeon's early morning TV lineup, or everybody's favorite stay home from school sick TV lineup of game shows, because that's what we had on in the 80s during the morning when we were homesick, was game shows. So you got to flip around the dial and find all the game shows that you wanted to watch until noon came. And what did you do at noon? You had a bowl of Campbell's chicken noodle soup and maybe some crackers, because that's the first thing that your mom wants to give you when you're sick, is a bowl of chicken noodle soup from Campbell's and crackers. To this day, the only canned soup I will buy is Campbell's chicken noodle soup. I think it's a legendary taste. It is a something iconic. What it's not visually iconic. If you put it in your mouth, what's that called? Not olfactory, that's smell. It's tastefully iconic. That's all I can think of. It's an iconic taste, the Campbell's chicken noodle soup. Then of course, the midday would come when you started to get restless because you were starting to feel better. And I certainly know families, and I think mine did a few times, where if you were sick, what were you doing? Nothing. You weren't doing anything. You were not going outside to play. You were not doing anything. You were going to entertain yourself all day in the house. So if I was starting to feel better, that's when I would engage with the LJNs or play some Nintendo or whatever, but you certainly were not going outside if you were sick. And if you started to feel better, if you started to look better, if you stopped vomiting, if your fever went from 109 down to 103, and your mom caught you feeling better, you would hear, "You're going to school tomorrow. You're going to school tomorrow." "I don't know, Mom. I don't know. It's only 3:00 in the afternoon. I still feel bad." "You're going to school tomorrow. You look better. You're going to school tomorrow." And you know what? At some point in childhood, I started to get worried about what I was missing at school. I always felt bad to stay home from school, especially if I was lying, because as you got into the older grades, you started to miss work. And I just never knew what I was going back to. And that was always an awful feeling. When you were younger, you got to go in and you were a minor celebrity for a little while, because everybody was like, "Where were you yesterday?" "Oh, I was sick." "Oh," you come in and everybody's like, "Hey, you're back. You missed a day of school. How are you?" It's okay. I had a sore throat. You were a celebrity. Now, I see on TV all the time where friends would bring home books, the Wonder Years and Leave It to Beaver. Your friends would bring home your homework. I don't remember that ever happening. I don't ever think anybody brought me home homework. So I don't know if that was a real thing or not, but it never really happened. Maybe if you were out with a broken leg or something for a long period of time, they'd bring you your schoolwork, because you were not going online, obviously, and doing your work that way. You had to have your books brought to you. I don't remember that ever happening at all. But I would, if I was sick at home, I was on the couch, but there was always something very special about being sick at home and getting into your parents' bed. That was always a great feeling too, because they had this massive universe of mattress, right? You had your little twin bed up against the wall with your Superman sheets or your Star Wars sheets, and that was great. But when you were sick and you climbed into this island of a bed that just smelled differently, and the blankets were different, and the pillows were colder, or what, that was also heaven, just getting into your parents' bed alone when you were sick and just taking that sick nap, having those horrible fever hallucinations or what. Maybe that didn't happen to you, but I hated fever dreams. I hated the hot, cold feeling of a fever. I still hate it today. I hate the feeling of a fever because the air hurts. I was sick today. I don't have a fever or anything, but I got out of the vehicle when I pulled in the driveway, and I had to go down and check the mail. And it's really cold out here in upstate New York. It's like 8 degrees. I went to the mailbox, and I, even though I don't have a fever, I kind of have that sick feeling in my skin, and the air was hurting. The air was painful. But when I do have a fever, the air actually hurts. It's a horrible feeling. I'm not telling you something for the first time. So anyway, there's my video. Sick in the 80s, sick as a kid. What'd you do? Did you watch the game shows? Did you watch Tic-Tac-Doe with Wink Martindale? Wink. did, did you watch Joker's Wild? Did you watch, obviously watch The Price is Right? Did you watch the Whammy show? Did you watch Let's Make a Deal? And then as we turn the corner into noon, 1, 2 o'clock, TV's miserable. You got nothing but soap operas until the 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock hour when your DuckTales and your G.I. Joe and everything came on. So put your sick memories down below. I'm gonna go take a shower and just get on the couch and maybe have some Campbell's soup. We'll see you next time. Good night now.